Imagine you were born in the year 1206. The world, to you, is no bigger than the stretch of fields surrounding your village. There's no electricity, no maps with borders, no concept of empires that span continents. Life is quiet, rooted in rhythm, the rise of the sun, the planting of wheat, the bleating of goats. You've never heard of the word Mongol, and the name Genghis Khan means nothing to your parents, your elders, or your village priest. Your world might be a small farming hamlet in Eastern Europe, a market town along the Silk Road, or a remote monastery in northern China. Wherever you are, one thing is certain: the future feels predictable. Generations have lived this same life, tilling soil, surviving winters, worshiping gods for rain and luck. If you're lucky, you'll grow strong, marry someone from the village next door, and one day teach your children the same old lullabies your mother sang to you. But here's what no one in your village knows. Far to the east, across endless grasslands, a storm is forming. Not a storm of wind or rain, but of hooves, arrows, and ambition. In the Mongolian steppes, a man named Temujin is rising. He has just united the warring clans of his homeland and taken on a new name: Genghis Khan. And though your days are still filled with shepherding and simple joys, history is already galloping toward you. Your birth year is not just the start of your life. It's the birth year of a new world order, one that will reshape everything, and no village, kingdom, or empire will be untouched. While your village sleeps under stars, you think will never change. Something terrifying and unstoppable is awakening in the east. Thousands of miles away, in the cold, open plains of Mongolia, a warrior named Temujin has just achieved the impossible. After years of blood feuds, betrayals, and brutal tribal warfare, he has united the scattered Mongol clans, not with diplomacy, but with ruthless strength. In 1206, the same year you were born, he is declared Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. This isn't just a title, it's a mission. To the Mongols, the world is now theirs to ride across, conquer, and command. Genghis Khan doesn't see borders. He sees opportunities, kingdoms to crush, cities to burn, rivals to erase. His warriors ride like ghosts, cover hundreds of miles without stopping, and strike before anyone knows they've arrived. They train from childhood to ride horses and shoot arrows with deadly precision. Their discipline is unmatched. Their brutality is legendary. But in your peaceful village, no one knows this yet. You might hear vague rumors passed along by traders, strange men from the east, fast as the wind, leaving nothing alive. You may laugh it off. After all, how could horsemen from a place you've never seen matter to your small life? What you don't realize is that Genghis Khan is already preparing his next move. First, he looks toward the mighty western Xia and Jin dynasties in northern China. Then, to the wealthy Islamic empires of Central Asia. And later, much later, to lands far west of your village. The world is about to become smaller and far more dangerous. You were born in a year of transition, not just for your family or your village, but for civilization itself. And while you learn to walk, the greatest war machine in human history is learning to run. By the time you're old enough to work the fields or carry water from the well, the rumors have grown louder. Stories of entire cities wiped off the map, fortresses that crumbled in days, kings who begged for mercy and found none. The Mongols aren't just warlike. They're unstoppable. And now they're no longer a distant whisper from the east. They're real. They're coming. And they're getting closer. One by one, great empires fall. In Central Asia, the Khwarezmian Empire makes the fatal mistake of insulting Genghis Khan. His response is swift and brutal. He sends an army that leaves nothing behind but ash and silence. In China, the Jin dynasty's once mighty cities are reduced to ruins. By the 1240s, if you've survived long enough, Even places like Kiev, Baghdad, and parts of Hungary are being swallowed by the Mongol tide. Their tactics are unlike anything the world has seen. They feign retreat to lure armies out of fortresses, then surround and destroy them. They spread terror on purpose, allowing a few survivors to flee and tell others of the horror. Psychological warfare, speed, and merciless discipline become their deadliest weapons. No one is safe. If you live in a walled city, you might think you're protected. But the Mongols bring engineers. They build siege towers, catapults, and hellish machines. If you try to run, they'll outpace you on horseback. If you try to fight, they'll flank you before you finish forming ranks. And if you surrender, sometimes they spare you. Sometimes they don't. The only guarantee is uncertainty and fear. Your quiet birth in 1206 placed you in the path of a storm that has now become a fire. This isn't a raid. It's a redefinition of war itself. And by now, every child born after you knows the name Genghis Khan because they're taught to fear it. When the thunder of hooves finally fades, what's left behind isn't just destruction. It's transformation. The Mongol Empire, forged in fire and terror, becomes the largest contiguous land empire in human history. From the Pacific Ocean to the edges of Europe, the world has been reshaped. And you, born in 1206, are living in a world unrecognizable from the one of your childhood. Entire kingdoms have vanished. Baghdad, once a center of learning and culture, lies in ruins after the Mongols stormed it in 1258. Libraries burned, scholars killed, a golden age reduced to rubble. Yet amid the chaos, something unexpected begins to emerge: stability. The Mongols, brutal in conquest, are strangely practical in governance. They establish the Pax Mongolica, a period of relative peace across their vast territories. For the first time in centuries, merchants can travel from China to Europe under a unified set of rules. Roads are protected, bandits are hunted, the Silk Road thrives. Ideas, goods, and people begin to flow more freely than ever. Chinese inventions like gunpowder, paper money, and the compass reach Europe. Islamic mathematics and astronomy find new audiences in the West. Even diseases, like the Black Death, ride the same trade routes, spreading with devastating effect. The Mongols didn't just break the old world, they stitched together a new one. But make no mistake, this peace came at an unfathomable price. Cities wiped out, cultures erased, tens of millions dead. If you survived, and that's a big if, you did so in a world ruled by fear, yet strangely more connected. Perhaps you became a traitor, protected under the Khan's seal. Or maybe your children speak two languages now, their native tongue and Mongolian. The borders you once knew have disappeared, replaced by something vast and alien. In just a few decades, the Mongols have done what no civilization before them ever managed: unite the known world under a single shadow. And for better or worse, you've lived through it. From innocence to empire, from peace to ash to order. You didn't choose to be born in 1206. But history chose that year to change everything. The world you came into was slow, local, and deeply rooted in tradition. The world you leave behind, or grow old in, is faster, fiercer, and forever altered by the thunder of Mongol hooves. You've lived through the rise of an empire that tore through continents like wildfire. You've seen villages burned, dynasties shattered, and cities rebuilt under a foreign banner. You've watched borders vanish, rulers bow, and languages mix. And perhaps in your old age, you sit by a fire telling younger generations about the time before. Before the Khan's horsemen rode through your valley, before your town began accepting foreign coins and strange spices. Before your world became connected. Maybe you never picked up a sword. Maybe you were just a shepherd, a merchant, or a monk. But your life, quiet as it seemed, was shaped by a force larger than any single person. The decisions of one man from the Mongolian steppe echoed across your entire lifetime. And yet something else lingers in the air, something beyond conquest: legacy. Because the Mongols didn't just conquer land, they rewrote the script of civilization. They proved that history isn't always shaped by the largest empire or the most beautiful city. Sometimes it's shaped by raw determination, by those willing to challenge the impossible. So when someone asks, "What was it like to be born in 1206?" you'll pause. Then you'll say, "It was the year the world began galloping toward a new age, and you were there."